All right, you are live. What are we talking about today? It's a beautiful morning, and we will be talking about Egypt. The sun is coming out, the sky is getting better, but hey, we're on a gloomy Vancouver winter day. All right, Egypt. Today we're going to talk about the history of Egypt, officially known as the Arab Republic of Egypt, transcontinental country located in the northeastern corner of Africa and Sinai Peninsula. Spans the northeast corner of Africa, Sinai Peninsula, population 107 million, most populous country in Arab world, and third most populous in Africa. Ethic- Ethnically homogeneous, comprising more than 99% of the population, which is Egyptians. Hmm. Ancient civilization. Home to one of the world's earliest and greatest civilization with the unified kingdom first surfacing around 3200 BC. Pharaohic, pharaonic, pharaonic Egypt. The civilization thrived for about 3000 years through various native dynasties and periods of foreign rule, Hellenistic and Roman periods. After Alexander the Great's conquest in 323 BCE, it became part of the Hellenistic world under the Ptolemaic dynasty, followed by Roman rule from 30 BCE. Modern history. Significant player in the Middle Eastern politics with leaders like Nasser and Anwar Sadat shaping its modern history. The Nile River Valley and Delta are the heartland of Egypt, supporting a large rural population devoted to agriculture, tourism. Major sector tourism is driven by Egypt's rich historical and cultural heritage, including the pyramids of Giza, Luxor's temples and tombs, and the Red Sea's diving sites. Hmm. Manufacturing, trade, and remittances from Egyptians working abroad also contribute significantly to the economy. Pyramids of Giza. These pyramids are a must visit for the historical significance and architectural marvel. Yes, massive pyramids built thousands of years ago. Aswan, famous for its scenic beauty, and the Abu Simbel temples, offers world class diving and beach resorts. Cairo, bustling capital with attractions like the Egyptian Museum, the Mosque of Muhammad Ali Pasha, and historic sites in Islamic Cairo. Malaria free in 2024, political and social issues, arbitrary detentions, forced returns, have been criticized for their mass, arbitrary arrest, and unlawful deportations of Sudanese refugees. Okay, perfect. What are the major events in the history of Egypt since its inception? So we got a brief idea, we got a brief overview of Egypt, and now let's go into the history. What is this? Grok 2? Okay, so this just says that these results were generated by Grok 2. What are the major events in the history of Egypt? Okay, settlement by 11,000 BC. Hmm. Major events in Egyptian history. By 11,000 BC, people began settling in the Nile Valley, marking the beginning of Egyptian civilization, unification. Around 3100, King Menes, also known as Narmer, unified the upper and lower Egypt, marking the start of the early dynastic period. Construction of the pyramids. The step pyramid at Saqqara was built around 2670 BC by Imhotep under King Djoser, and the Great Pyramid of Giza were constructed between 2600 and 2500 BC. Political corruption and the rise of nomarchs led to the decline of the Old Kingdom, with the capital shifting to Thebes. Middle Kingdom. Reunification and prosperity. The Middle Kingdom saw Egypt reunified under the 11th and 12th dynasties, with a period of prosperity and cultural development. Expansion and empire. Egypt became an empire under the 18th dynasty, with pharaohs like Thutmose III and Amenhotep III expanding its influence. Battle of Kadesh, 1274. Ramesses II fought the Hittites at Kadesh, leading to the world's first peace treaty. Invasion of the Sea Peoples around 1180. Ramesses III successfully defended Egypt against the Sea Peoples. Third intermediate, foreign invasions. This period saw invasions by the Assyrians, Libyans, and Nubians, leading to a decline in central power. Third intermediate, late period, Persian conquest. Egypt was conquered by the Persians in 525 BC, marking the beginning of the first Persian period. Second Persian period. After a brief period of independence, Egypt was reconquered by the Persians in 343 BC. Hellenistic and Roman periods. Alexander the Great's conquest. In 332 BC, Alexander the Great conquered Egypt without resistance, founding Alexandria. Ptolemaic dynasty. Following Alexander's death, his general Ptolemy I Soter established the Ptolemaic kingdom, which lasted until 30 BC. Oh, that is very interesting. Okay. So let's say Alexander the Great conquered Egypt in 332. Let's say he died in, let's, even if we talk, even if we say 250, still, like, Ptolemy, who was the general, got a solid 200 years of his generation leading Egypt. Hmm. Roman rule. After the death of Cleopatra 6 in 30 BC, Egypt became a province of the Roman Empire. Hmm. Islamic and medieval periods. Arab conquest. In 642, it was conquered by Arab forces, marking the beginning of Islamic rule. Mamluk. From 1250 to 1517, it was ruled by the Mamluks, a period characterized by prosperity and well ordered civic institutions. Ottoman and modern periods. 1517, it was absorbed into the Ottoman Empire, French occupation. Napoleon Bonaparte's forces invaded Egypt in 1798 but were repelled by the British and Turks in 1801. Hmm. This is really cool. Like, they also talk about how Napoleon took so much inspiration, like, really studied Alexander the Great. And Alexander did that almost like 2000 years ago. Yeah, almost 2000 years ago, before Napoleon. That is crazy. Muhammad Ali's dynasty. From 1805, Muhammad Ali established a dynasty that ruled Egypt until 1953, although nominally part of the Ottoman Empire. British Protectorate. It became a British protectorate in 1882 following the Anglo-Egyptian War, lasting until 1952 revolution. Egyptian Revolution 1919. The revolution led to their formal independence in 1922, although British influence remained significant. Hmm. So they got their formal independence in 1922, but in 1952 there was a revolution which basically freed them of British and the king. The Free Officers movement overthrew King Farouk, leading to the establishment of Republic of Egypt. Contemporary revolution of 2011. This revolution deposed President Hosni Mubarak and resulted in the election of Mohamed Morsi, first democratically elected president. Hmm. Wow. Okay. So prehistoric, Old Kingdom, Middle Kingdom, New Kingdom, Third Intermediate Period, Late Period. Hellenistic and Roman periods, Islamic and medieval period, Ottoman and modern period. Wow, a lot of stuff happened. Okay, we'll start with what came first? First intermediate or old? Old kingdom came first. Okay, let's see. What are the major events in the history of Egypt during the Old Kingdom? An Old Kingdom lasted for around 500 years. Construction of pyramids, end of Old Kingdom. Political corruption, the rise of, is it nomarchs or monarchs? This word is interesting. Ancient Egypt timeline. Old, first intermediate, middle, second intermediate, new, third intermediate, late, and then Greco Roman. Then we have Hellenistic and Roman, so that is Greco Roman, Islamic, Ottoman, Islamic and Ottoman. Wow. Okay, let's see. Marked by significant cultural, architecture, and political developments, here are some of the major events during this era. Unification, right? So we know about the Upper and Lower Egypt, Third Dynasty, reign of Djoser. King Djoser moved the royal capital to Memphis and initiated a new era of building and moved the royal capital to Memphis and initiated a new era of building at Saqqara. His vizier Imhotep designed the step pyramid, the first pyramid in Egypt, which was a significant architectural achievement. Development of writing. Hieroglyphic writing evolved during this period, with the earliest known examples dating back to around 2700 BC. Fourth dynasty. Third, fourth, pyramid building. This dynasty is known for the construction of the Great Pyramids of Giza. King Sneferu, Sneferu, 2613 to 2589. Okay. Perfected pyramid building, and his successors Khufu, Khafre, and Menkaure built the three main pyramids at Giza. Hmm, interesting. King Sneferu perfected, and these are the three main pyramids. Interesting, interesting. King Sneferu perfected pyramid building, and his successors Khufu, Khafre, and Menkaure built the three main pyramids at Giza. Great Sphinx. The Great Sphinx, believed to have been built during the reign of Khafre, is another monumental achievement of this dynasty. Fifth, social and cultural changes. Mid Dynasty Phi saw an increase in the wealth and power of high socials, leading to larger and more elaborate dome complexes. Introduction of pyramid decoration. The decoration inside pyramids was introduced during this dynasty. Invention of the potter's wheel. The potter's wheel was invented, marking a significant advancement in pottery production. Sixth dynasty. Collapse of central government. The central government began to weaken, leading to the development of local art styles and the eventual collapse of the Old Kingdom. Hmm. Long reign of Pepi II. Pepi II's reign was one of the longest in Egyptian history, but his Death might have led to succession struggles, contributing to the decline of the Old Kingdom. Hmm. 78 to 84. 78 to 84. That's almost it's almost 100 years. I think that's the problem. Like when you have a really long reign, when you have a really long reign like that of 70 of almost 100 years, after a point you stop preparing the next generation to take over. In the middle somewhere where you are like, oh, I can still keep going on for 50 more years, you stop preparing the next generation to take on the throne, and that leads to succession struggles. Usually they rule for 30 to 40 years. They let their kids grow up, mature, live their life, and then be ready for taking over the throne, and that leads to proper succession. When you have super long, your kids are not super old, and your grandsons, they were never ready, they were not never really into it because their dads were not into it. So yeah, it's very interesting. Maybe we'll look into it more. General developments. Pyramid construction. The Old Kingdom is often referred to as the age of the pyramids due to the numerous pyramids built as royal burial places. Hmm. This period saw the development of painting, the formalization of nude figures in art, and the depiction of gods with specific physical characteristics. There were changes in religious beliefs, including the rise of god Osiris, lord of the underworld. Drought and famine. A severe drought in the 22nd century BC led to famine and strife, contributing to the collapse of Old Kingdom. The collapse was followed by the first intermediate period, a time of disorder and calamity. Hmm. Third dynasty, fourth dynasty, fifth and sixth. 2184. Right. So 2184, 2181, right after, right after the reign of Pepi II, they call it that the Old Kingdom was collapsed. Tell me, hmm, what are the major events during the long reign of Pepi II? Let's see. During the long reign of Pepi II Neferkare, several significant events and developments marked his rules, which span from approximately 2778 to after 2247. After 2247. Okay. This is really cool that Perplexity can actually pull this kind of data in the pictures. Okay. Early reign, ascension at a young age. He ascended the throne at the age of 6, following the death of his half brother Mer- Merenre I. His mother served as regent during his early years, ensuring stability in the kingdom. Economic and political changes, decentralization of power. His reign saw a shift in power from the central royal court to regional. Why do they keep saying nomarchs? It should be monarchs. Hmm. Now, I don't know if that's a grok issue, if that's an LLM issue, or if that's actually nomarchs. So, a shift in power from the central royal court to regional nomarchs, local governors. The centralization was marked by the increasing wealth and independence of these nomarchs. Nomarchs is a very weird word. We can say monarch. No, nomarchs make actually make sense. Nomarchs make sense because monarch means a king. Yeah, monarch means someone who's authoritative. Marked by the increasing wealth and independence of these nomarchs who were traditionally free from taxation and whose positions became hereditary. Okay. This decentralization was marked by the increasing wealth and independence of these nomarchs who were traditionally free from taxation and whose positions became hereditary. Large and expensive tombs were built for nomarchs, the priestly class, and other administrators, indicating their growing power and influence. Pyramid construction. Pepi II's pyramid complex at Saqqara was among the largest of the 5th and 6th dynasties, although it suffered from structural weaknesses and required a girdle wall due to an earthquake. Decoration of pyramid temples. The decoration scheme for Pepi II's pyramid temple was largely copied from the 5th dynasty king Sahure's pyramid temple, suggesting a lack of innovation or perhaps a deliberate choice to emulate past glory. Hmm. Was largely copied from the 5th dynasty king Sahure pyramid temple, suggesting a lack of innovation or perhaps a deliberate choice to emulate past glory. Foreign relations. Expeditions to Nubia and Punt. Sent expeditions to Lower Nubia and Punt, the Somali coast of Africa. Although these met with resistance as documented in the biography of the royal commissioner Harkuf. Wow. So there's actually a biography available from that time. That is crazy. That is crazy. Which is 4,000 years ago. Wow. Decline of the Old Kingdom. Long reign and decline. Baby Two's exceptionally long reign, possibly lasting 62 to 64 years or even longer. Hmm. Right. So he ascended the throne at 6. So let's say the first 15 years he was still a kid. And then 62 to 64 years was when he was actually ruling. Contributed to the decline of the Old Kingdom, his long rule led to a senile ruler when Egypt needed vigorous leadership, and his successors were unable to cope with the political and economic crisis that arose. Famine and climate change. Towards the end of his reign, Egypt experienced a severe drought, leading to a famine and strife. This, combined with the political issues, contributed to the collapse of the Old Kingdom. Succession crisis. His death might have led to a succession crisis, as none of his brothers or 5 sons reigned for very long, exacerbating the political instability. Hmm. As none of his brothers or 5 sons reigned for very long. Civil war. The decline in central authority and the rise of local power led to a period of civil war that lasted for about 130 years after Pepi II's death. Hmm. Setting the stage for the first intermediate period in Egyptian history. We want to know more about the first pyramid in Egypt. Let's see. Imhotep. Okay, here it is. The step pyramid. Okay, this makes sense why they call it a step pyramid. I don't think this is. What is this? This is Mexico, right? This is Mexico. Okay, you have the entire layout, enclosure wall, step pyramid, northern funerary temple and entrance to the pyramid, Serdab court, north house, south house, South Court, South Tomb, T Temple, boundary markers, head, heb, sed, court. Okay. Djoser's Step Pyramid. Okay. Interesting. The Step Pyramid at Saqqara, built during the third dynasty for Pharaoh Djoser, is a landmark in the history of Egyptian architecture and the first pyramid ever constructed. Actually, before, who are pharaohs? Okay, is a landmark in the history of Egyptian architecture and the first pyramid ever constructed in Egypt. Okay, design and construction, evolution from mastaba. The step pyramid began as a rectangular, flat, rectangular mastaba tomb, hmm, which was then expanded and modified in several stages. Imhotep Djoser's vizier and architect conceived the idea of stacking mastabas on top of one another, decreasing in size as they ascended to create the stepped effect. Hmm. It began as a traditional flat rectangular mastaba tomb, which was then expanded and modified in several stages. He conceived the idea of stacking mastabas on top of one another, decreasing in size as they ascended to create the stepped effect. The pyramid went through multiple development phases labeled M1, M2, M3, P1, P1 star, and P2, reflecting the architectural experimentation of the time. Initially, it was a simple mastaba, then expanded into a square based pyramid, and finally transformed into a six-step pyramid. Hmm, it's crazy that still have we still have something from many, many, many years ago. Hmm. Initially, it was a simple mastaba, then expanded into a square based pyramid, and finally transformed into a six-step pyramid. Unlike earlier tombs made of mud brick, the step pyramid was constructed entirely of stone, marking a significant technological advancement. Limestone was used on a large scale for the first time, showcasing the shift from perishable materials to more durable stone. Innovations. The complex included not only the pyramid but also a series of structures, courtyards, and underground tunnels and chapels. The complex included not only the pyramid but also a series of structures, courtyards, and underground tunnels and chapels. The use of stone for both functional and dummy buildings, which were solid structures behind a facade, was an innovation. The pyramid temple was situated on the north side, unlike later pyramids where it was on the east side. Is the earliest large-scale cut stone construction made by man as of 97, as it represents the birth of the pyramid as the standard tomb for Egyptian pharaohs. It constitutes a milestone in the evolution of monumental stone architecture both in Egypt and globally. Its designed its design influenced the construction of later pyramids, including the famous pyramids at Giza. The complex includes features like the South Tomb, believed to be a symbolic tomb of Djoser, reflecting his dual role as the king of Upper and Lower Egypt. Hmm. Features like the South Tomb, believed to be a symbolic tomb for Djoser, reflecting his dual role as king of Upper and Lower Egypt. The two courts in front of the pyramid recreate the setting of the said festival, ensuring the king's eternal rejuvenation. Hmm. Is credited with this major innovation in tomb design, which led to his deifi- deification in later periods. The step pyramid set the precedent for the monumental royal tombs that followed, with its step design becoming the archetype for subsequent pyramid builders. Wow. So it's really cool. They never wanted to make a pyramid. They just were experimenting with a tomb where they had this one flat square and they just kept building on top of it, like more and more. And it looked like a pyramid. And people were like, oh shit, so this is how we build a tomb. Now we'll make a proper pyramid. Hmm. Pharaohs were the monarchs of ancient Egypt, ruling from 1st dynasty 3150 until the annexation of Egypt by the Roman Empire in 30 BCE. Definition and role. The term pharaoh originally meant great house. Pharaoh, great house, referring to the royal palace, but later came to mean king of Egypt. It was first used as a title during the reign of Amenhotep III in the 18th dynasty. It was first used as a title during the reign of Amenhotep, divine status. Were considered living gods on earth, intermediaries between the gods and humans. They were believed to be imbued with divinity, ensuring the balance of the universe and the well being of their people. Functions and responsibilities. Religious role. As a high priest of every temple, the pharaoh performed rituals and offered sacrifices to maintain harmony with the gods, ensuring agricultural prosperity and the regulation of the Nile's water. Were the head of the state, military leaders, and supreme judges. They were responsible for maintaining Egypt's borders, leading armies, and ensuring justice. They ensured the distribution of arable land, opened granaries during famine, and promoted harmony by repelling chaos, Isfet, and promoting order, Mat. Legislator promulgated laws and decrees inspired by divine wisdom, which were applied for the common good and social agreement. Architectural innovators. Many pharaohs were remembered for their monumental building projects, such as pyramids, which were not just tombs but also acts of righteousness and symbols of their divine power. Pharaoh symbolized ancient Egypt's culture and political achievements, with each ruler having a unique legacy, whether as military leaders, diplomats, or architectural innovators. Djoser, known for commissioning the step pyramid at Saqqara, the first pyramid in Egypt. Khufu, builder of the Great Pyramid of Giza. Thutmose III, a military leader who expanded Egypt's empire. Hatshepsut, Hatshepsut, one of the few female pharaohs known for her building projects and trade expeditions. Akhenaten attempted to introduce monotheism with the worship of Aten. Tutankhamun, famous for his intact tomb discovered in the 20th century. This is crazy. Tutankhamun, crazy. Djoser, Step Pyramid, Khufu, Pyramid of Giza, Thutmose, expanded. Hatshepsut, female pharaohs known for her building projects and trade expeditions. Akhenaten, introduced monotheism, legacy. The concept of divine kingship in Egypt influenced many of the societies and kingdoms surviving into the modern era. Cultural impact. Pharaohs left a lasting legacy through their monumental architecture, art, and the preservation of the divine status in Egyptian culture. Tell me more about Khufu. Let's see. Known as Cheops in Greek, was the second pharaoh of the fourth dynasty of Egypt, ruling during 26th century. Was the son of Sneferu, the first pharaoh of the fourth dynasty. This is the Sphinx. This is the Khufu pyramid. Hmm. Khufu was the son of Sneferu, the first pharaoh of the fourth dynasty, and Queen Het I. He succeeded his father and ruled for an estimated 23 to 34 years, though ancient sources like Herodotus and Manetho give exaggerated figures of 50 and 63, respectively. Herodotus, ancient sources. Okay, what are these? Family. He had several children, including his successors Jedef, Jedefre, and Khafre, who continued the pyramid building tradition. Construction. He commissioned the Great Pyramid of Giza, which remains the largest pyramid in Egypt and one of the seven wonders of the ancient world. The pyramid was built over a period of about 26 years, with an estimated 2.3 million stone blocks, each weighing an average of 2.5 to 15 tons. The pyramid was built over a period of about 26 years with an estimated 2.3 million stone blocks, each weighing an average of 2.5 to 15 tons. Architect Hemuno, Khufu's vizier. You need to know what a vizier is often credited with being the architect of the Great Pyramid, though this is not universally accepted. Purpose. The pyramid served as Khufu's tomb, designed to ensure his eternal life and to reflect his divine status. It was part of a larger funerary complex that included two temples connected by a causeway, smaller pyramids for his queens, and solar barks. Originally stood at 481 feet tall, 147 meters, with a base area of over 13 acres. Its sides are precisely aligned with the cardinal points, showcasing the Egyptians' advanced technology of astronomy and mathematics. Its sides are precisely aligned with the cardinal points. Interesting. With the cardinal points, showcasing the Egyptians' advanced knowledge of astronomy and mathematics. Centralization of power. His reign saw the consolidation of the pharaoh's power and the establishment of a more centralized administration. This was achieved by streamlining bureaucracy and ensuring that the king's authority was absolute. Mining and trade. He developed Egypt's mining industry, particularly for materials like copper, turquoise, and limestone, which were essential for his monumental projects. Copper, turquoise, and limestone. He also sent expeditions to Byblos for cedar wood, crucial for building funerary boats. We know Byblos, we have read about it in the past. Divine status. Like all pharaohs, Khufu was considered a living god, responsible for maintaining the balance of the universe and ensuring the prosperity of Egypt. Despite Herodotus' portrayal of Khufu as a cruel ruler, Egyptian sources depict him as a wise and just king. His name appears in inscriptions and graffiti indicating his enduring legacy. Innovations in architecture. The Great Pyramid's construction techniques, including the use of corbelled galleries and relieving chambers, were innovative for their time. The pyramid complex included a valley temple, a causeway, and a pyramid temple, all of which were lavishly decorated and inscribed, showcasing the wealth and power of Khufu's reign. The Greek historian Herodotus portrayed Khufu as a tyrannical ruler who used slaves to build the pyramid, a view now considered inaccurate. Modern understanding suggests that the workforce was likely composed of skilled workers and conscripted labor. What does that mean? Western Papyrus. Westcar Papyrus. This document describes Khufu as a traditional Oriental monarch interested in magic and human existence, contrasting with Herodotus' negative portrayal. Interesting. Interesting. Tell me all interesting facts about the Great Pyramid of Giza. Let's see. Massive structure has a mass of approximately 5.9 million tons and a volume of 2.5 million cubic meters. Wow. Height. Originally, it stood at 147 meters, making it the tallest building in the world for over 3,800 years. You can see the city over here. Hmm, really cool. Base. The base of the pyramid measures 755 feet on each side with a total base area of over 13 acres. Orientation. The pyramid sides are precisely aligned with the cardinal points of the compass. It is estimated that the pyramid was built using around 2.3 million blocks of stone, each weighing an average of 2.5 tons, with some blocks weighing up to 16 tons. The pyramid was built over a period of about 20 to 30 years. Engineering marvel. The pyramid's construction involved no cranes or advanced machinery, showcasing the Egyptians' engineering prowess. Theories suggest that ramps, possibly supplemented by hydraulic power, were used to move the massive stones into place. Hydraulic power. The pyramid's core is made of yellowish limestone blocks with finer, light colored limestone for inner passages and huge granite blocks for the burial chamber. Burial chamber. The core is made of yellowish limestone blocks with finer, light colored limestone for inner passages. Wow. It's kind of crazy that you can still today go inside this pyramid and it's safe. Precision. The pyramid's rises sides rise at an angle of 51.87 degrees and are accurately oriented to the cardinal points. It is the oldest of the seven wonders of the ancient world and and the only one to remain largely intact. Pharaoh Khufu. Built as a tomb for Pharaoh Khufu, the second king of Egypt's fourth dynasty, royal necropolis. Giza became the royal necropolis for Memphis, the pharaoh's capital city during the Old Kingdom. The Great Pyramid is a defining symbol of Egypt, representing the pinnacle of ancient Egyptian civilization. The pyramid acts as a giant gigantic sundial with its shadows telling the hour when they fall on marks carved in the stones. Mysterious tunnels. The pyramid contains intricate underground tunnels, passages, and chambers, some of which have been excavated with artifacts found, though details are kept confidential. Hmm. No mummy found. Despite being a tomb, no mummy has ever been found inside the Great Pyramid. A boat was found in a pit at the base of the pyramid, believed to be for Khufu's journey in the afterlife, making it the heaviest, making it the third heaviest man-made object in the world. The pyramid was not built by slaves but by paid workers, supported by a small village of people providing various services. Whoa. They say things have been kept confidential. This is interesting. Tell me more about the mysterious tunnels. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Hmm. Mysterious tunnels has long been a subject of fascination and mystery, with recent discoveries shedding light on the internal structure. Here are some intriguing facts. Hidden corridor. In 2023, a 9-meter long hidden passageway was discovered near the main entrance of the Great Pyramid of Giza. This corridor, located behind the chevron zone on the north side, was found using modern scanning technologies like radiographic muons, infrared thermography, and 3D reconstruction techniques. Chevron. Okay. Okay. So they have figured out that there is something interesting. Located behind the chevron zone on the north side, the function of this corridor is not immediately known but is speculated to have been built to redistribute the pyramid's weight around the main entrance or possibly to protect an undiscovered chamber. The Scan Pyramids project, which began in 2015, has been instrumental in these discoveries. They use cosmic ray muon radiography to detect voids within the pyramid, allowing for non invasive exploration. Other notable chambers and passages. Located at the end of the descending passage, this chamber is roughly hewn into the bedrock and remains unfinished. It was likely the original planned tomb for Pharaoh Khufu before the plan was changed to the king's chamber. Ascending passage and grand gallery. The ascending passage leads to the grand gallery, a long, narrow corridor with cobbled roof, which provides access to the king's chamber. The passage was essential during the pyramid's construction for moving materials and workers. The main burial chamber for Pharaoh Khufu, located at the heart of the pyramid. Hmm, right in the middle. Interesting. Interesting. The main burial chamber for Pharaoh Khufu, located at the heart of the pyramid. It features a granite sarcophagus and is connected to the Grand Gallery. Relieving chambers. Above the king's chamber are several chambers designed to relieve the weight of the pyramid structure, preventing the roof from collapsing. They were named after early Egyptologists who explored them. These discoveries provide valuable insights into the construction techniques and architectural innovations of the ancient Egyptians, particularly in how they managed the structural integrity of such a massive monument. The ongoing scanning work suggests that there might be more secrets to uncover within the pyramid, potentially leading to the discovery of additional chambers of artifacts. Egypt aims to leverage these discoveries to boost its tourism industry, which has faced challenges due to political instability and global health crisis. Hmm, really cool. Wow. Okay, that's the stream. We'll definitely come back to Egypt. There's so much more to learn.